Hello everyone, my name is Hallimar, and welcome to the first review / breakdown of Snowpiercer Season 3. Just a disclaimer right away, this video will have spoilers for Episode 1, The Tortoise and the Hare. But before I start this breakdown, I want to give thanks to the community for pushing me over the phenomenal landmark that is 1,000 subscribers. To keep this community growing and to stay informed on the latest Snowpiercer content, please just take a second of your time to subscribe. It costs nothing, and you won't regret it. And with that out of the way, let's dive right into the video. To start, I want to address a very important thing that a lot of people have been referring to when it comes to the quality of Season 3. Yes, I still stand by the fact that Season 3 could become an utter disaster, and I still think the trailers were horrendous. However, that does not mean that Tortoise and the Hare was a bad episode. Now, I am attempting to get more critical of the show in the future in order to make sure that I don't get caught up in the hype train, pun intended. I genuinely enjoyed this episode. Sure, I was pulled out of the experience when janky animations popped up along with the new CGI models looking worse than their predecessors, or when Alex unironically said that Ben mansplains when he has literally no history of doing so. But this episode alone has established something about the show that was lost long ago in Season 1, a certain aesthetic. Season 1 felt very much like a sci-fi universe waiting to be explored where life was constantly in danger of collapse, and Season 3 has adopted its own overall vibe that is even reflected in its soundtrack, dystopia and industrialism. For those of you who hold the film in very high regard and perhaps were putting off watching the TV show because of how different it was, maybe you can give Season 3 a try. Another thing that has seemingly vastly improved is the character dynamics, along with just the characters in general. I know that I've harped on Season 2's character writing quite a bit, and I'm not afraid to criticize the fact that Season 3 is also inconsistent in reference to Season 2, but I generally find the characters in Season 3 to be more likable. Andre may still be a hypocrite and Sykes' turn to good was too soon, but the way that the crew of Snowpiercer interact and how intimidating Kevin, Audrey, and Wilfred have become is a nice breath of fresh air compared to the previous season. So much so that I almost want to see Wilfred stay a villain, although I still hope that he becomes otherwise eventually. One last thing I want to add is how this episode turned out to be very tense. Seeing Ruth, Pike, and Layton's revolutionaries scheme around the bowels of Wilfred's rolling gulag had me on the edge of my seat, especially when Ruth was very close to being found out earlier in the episode, and it wasn't the only instance that this happened. Later in the episode, when we finally get to the Snowden nuclear reactor, which was not Icebreaker by the way, I was enthralled by how tense the scene was, even though I knew that Asha was going to eventually attack Layton at some point in the scene. I don't want to let TNT's crimes against teasing shows slide, but perhaps Asha's first scene was made better by the fact that we all knew that she was going to appear in that reactor. I'll never really know for sure though, since I won't be able to experience this episode for the first time without that crucial information. But that's really all I have to say about this episode. I do intend on making a video soon about how Snowpiercer and Snowpiercer might wind up reconnecting at some point. We all know it's going to happen. It's confirmed in the episode summaries, but how it's going to happen is the real mystery, and I want to at least put a little bit of word into that in its own specific video. And then also, I will be making a video not specifically tied to talking about a trailer, talking about an episode like I've done for so long. I actually am intending to release a video about lore again, and it will be about the difference between Big Alice and Snowpiercer, because there are a lot of questions about that and a lot of confusion being stirred up by the fact that we don't have any clear difference between the two engines. I just want to highlight the actual differences so that way maybe the show can become a little less confusing. But what do you think? Is this episode a step in the right direction for you, or do you think that it will be all for nothing in the end? Let me know down in the comments below, but that's all I have for you. See ya.